to world premiere this film here at Cannes and then kind of like go on this Drag Me to Hell trip now. What's it like been so far, and to have it here and the reception that you got the other night?
It's a tremendous surprise to have Drag Me to Hell selected to be shown at the Cannes Film Festival. None of us who ever worked on it ever expected it. We really wanted to make a fine rock'em sock'em horror picture, a spookablast, filled with fun and scares and mayhem for the audience. But we never expected to be considered as a work of artistic merit, to be considered to be shown at a festival with this prestige.
A Sam Raimi horror film is kind of like, for the fans, it's like an event for a lot of us. And so to kind of go back to your roots, what is it like for you? Because you've gone on to do this other, this super mega career, and now to kind of go back to the work that you're doing. I don't know, what was it like to direct this?
Well, I love working on the Spider-Man films. I love the people at Columbia Pictures. We've got very close relationships. I love my producers, and working with Tobey Maguire, we're very close. But I did crave to get back to a simpler type of filmmaking. Sometimes on a very large production, it can be like explaining to literally hundreds of people what the effect it is that we're after. And that has its own beauty. But more often than not on this picture, it was simply Allison and myself, and Justin and myself, getting down to the core of an idea, a simple idea. And if they could understand it and make it true and find the truth in that moment, and I could capture it in the close-up, we had succeeded. So it was a very different process, and both are very rewarding to me.
To have things at your disposal as a director, but how do you hold back then? What is the kind of gauge for yourself to be like, all right, I don't know, was there a gauge, or was there something like, we got to keep it as lo-fi as possible?
That was part of the fun, was fun like exercise is fun, when you haven't been exercising for a while. It was necessary for me to get back to the simple grammar of film, without all the toys and all the tools that I was starting to become accustomed to. For 20 years, I never had those tools, and then come the Spider-Man films, those tools were necessary, and then I began to get used to having them around. And on Drag Me to Hell, one of the goals was, I've got to go on a starvation diet. I've got to, not starvation diet, because that's not really fair. I just have to get back to the basics of what I need for the movie making. I can't afford a crane all the time, but I could afford a crane if I could plan in advance one shot every week. I can't shoot any overtime because I can't afford it, so instead of the 8 shots to finish this scene, I've got an hour left. I can probably get 3 shots. What 3 shots are the core of this scene? So I'd get back to thinking about what's truly important, and I would cut out everything I didn't need, which is what any filmmaker should do anyway. So it was a very healthy process for me.
Another amazing partnership, I'm assuming, is working with Allison, because here's an actress that has to be in every single scene and kind of play. How did you, she's a great actress, but how did you choose on her being the focal point for this film? Because she's amazing in this.
Well, she just is a very nice person. She's a great actress. That's why I chose her. But then in addition to that, I had seen her in Matchstick Men, and I loved her in that, and she actually played a dual role in that film. And this character needed to perform different sides of the human psyche. A good person, but also someone who is capable of acting selfishly, and more selfishly still, and more selfishly still. And someone who may have been quite petite and perhaps fragile at first, but someone once threatened and threatened again could grow a little bit of a skin on them, a little bit of an armor, and toughen up by the end of the picture, and do anything to survive. So I needed a really fine actress, and I was so lucky to find Allison. She really wanted to play the part, and more than anything, that just thrilled me. And I talked to her on the phone, tried to convince her that we would have a really good collaborative time together, and fortunately she believed me, and I really think we did have that time together.